The slow muscle up. It is really an interesting and wonderful skill that can prepare you very well for the explosive version. The only difference, of course, is obvious. It lies in the speed with which each one of these skills is performed. In the explosive version, you have to generate more power. In the slow version of muscle up, you have to contract each muscle one after another in a certain order, slowly, in a slow pattern. Make sure that you already can do 10 to 12 pull-ups. One quick note here, do them a bit higher so that the bar touches your chest. And 10 to 15 dips at the bar. Also make sure to do them a little deeper. Go more down. Don't just stop at the level of your chest, but let yourself down at the level of your neck. The reason is that when you start to reach the front support, you are at a very low point. The bar is pretty much at the level of your neck and you will need more strength to push yourself harder in comparison to the explosive version when you are doing a high pull up and you are pretty much almost up in the front support with your hands straight. Now for the slow muscle up you will have to learn to hold a new grip called a dip or a fake grip. The reason you will need it lies in the slowness of this skill. So without this grip it is much harder to do this skill. And it plays a big role, especially in the transition phase from the hanging position to the front support. If you pay attention when you are simply hanging on the bar, you are using one grip, but when you are on the top of it, the position of your hands is changed. That's because when you're holding a position that relies on pushing, your palms need to face the ground, the surface which your hands have to kind of press and push against. But when the position relies on hanging, on pulling in order to sustain a hold, your hands usually need to face the object from underneath. So to understand better how to hold such a grip, first of all go to a bar. Please find a lower and a thicker bar. Deep bars are usually always thicker and lower. The reason is that on a thin bar you won't be able to hold such a grip because your hands will simply slip away. And put your wrist first on top of the bar. Try to find this perfect spot where there is kind of a dip in the area of your wrists. After you've done that, then wrap your palms and your fingers around the bar and try to bring your forearm now down, and of course you'll feel suddenly a discomfort in your hands, in your wrists. That's why you will need to train a bit of flexibility and mobility of this area. So we are going to do some stretching exercises for our hands. They are going to involve rotating our hands and turning our palm inwards and trying to make it face kind of our forearms, trying to get it closer and closer to our forearm. Before doing these exercises, please make sure that you are warmed up. Warm up your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your arms, even your shoulders to avoid any injury. And just like this. We can do these exercises also on the floor. The only difference is that when we are doing these exercises in the air, you are pulling. When we are doing these exercises on the floor, we are pushing our arms into our hands. In this way, we are kind of closing the distance between our forearm and our palm. Practice this for a while, like this. After the discomfort is not so strongly felt and the pain is not so sharp, we are going to train this flexibility on the bar by holding the grip itself. So now we have to return back to the bar. As I said, find a lower bar and a thicker bar. Also, why you shouldn't try to get such a grip on a higher bar is that you also won't be able. Imagine like rising up and trying to put your wrist, it's going to be a mess. And we are going now to place both of our hands simultaneously. So, as I mentioned before, find the perfect spot here where there is your wrist and place firmly, wrap the palm, the fingers, and try to bring your forearms, your elbows down. First, you are going to hold this grip with your hands bent because it is easier. It is not so hard on your wrists. And try to slowly lay your entire weight on your hands. Like this. You have to feel almost as if you could hold yourself just on your wrists alone. That means you've placed your hands correctly. So like this. After you manage that, then you have to slowly straighten your arms. So keep them here like this. Hold and slowly straighten your arms. You don't need to straighten them completely because you won't even be able to. For that you would need like a crazy amount of flexibility. It will be enough if like at this level you can hold yourself. That will be perfect. After you've accomplished this, now learn to do 5 to 6 pull-ups with such a grip. The main point to be aware and take into account is to do these pull-ups controllably and slow. If the pain gets too hard on your wrists, give yourself a rest to 2-3 days, then return back. Also, what you'll definitely need to learn is to hold the L-sit for at least 5 seconds. The reason is that in the transition phase, you have to shift your weight to reach the top support, and lifting your legs in that moment is very helpful and crucial. So how this skill is being performed? Once you've got a deep grip, you do the pull-up. Once the bar reaches a little below your neck, you start to turn your elbows up. You lift your legs to create balance and to shift your weight on top of the bar. Once you reach the bar, the last phase is pushing yourself upwards. There are 2 essential aspects that you have to remember and keep in mind in order to apply the right technique to perform this skill. The first one is related to the movement of your entire body. If you notice when you are doing simple pull-ups, especially the pull-ups that are required for this skill, when the bar has to reach your chest, your body is going straight backwards, constantly backwards. That's good, but not enough for this skill, because to transition from the hanging position to the front support, you have to move forwards. So how you have to deal with it? As I mentioned, the necessity of the L-sit hold, that once you have done the pull-up and you've reached the level of your neck, you have to slowly move your upper body, your chest and your shoulders forwards and up. You need to lift your legs. So in this way, the motion has to be circular, not just backwards. The second aspect is very important as well and is related to the area of your wrists, because by getting a deep grip, you have to create a lever by which you can reach the front support, even without the L-sit. And this lever is created while you are pressing your wrists and palms against the bar downwards, even before the bar reaches your chin. That's why this skill is really interesting, because it involves two simultaneous movements, pulling and pushing. The first attempts you can use a bigger speed. After that you can gradually make it more and more slow, so that it really looks cool, as if gravity decided not to disturb you. What if I told you that a slow muscle up can also be done without a deep grip? Just a simple grip that we usually use when we climb up a bar and do some pull-ups. Yes, it can be done, but now the difference is in the motion that you have to do with your wrists. You will have to turn your wrists in this way. And for that, a better option is to practice this skill on a thinner bar, because if you try to do it on a thicker bar, that means your hands will have to travel a longer distance to rotate this way. An easy way to transition to learn it is to gradually transition from a deep grip to a less and a less one. So gradually start to place your palms lower and lower. Also, initially you can use more speed, and in the same way eventually to make it slower. So if you've learned the slow muscle up even with a deep grip alone, you can easily transition to learning the explosive version, because the difference is not great. It's pretty much the same principle. The same muscles are activated in the same order, the same movement with your elbows, with your body. The only difference is in the speed with which you perform each one of these skills. And in the explosive version, you of course have to generate more power. There are also subtle things that you have to learn, how to do higher pull-ups, maybe below your chest. There are things you have to take into account. If you are interested, I can do a tutorial on the explosive version of the muscle up. But what if I told you that you can do a muscle up from a totally different position that is not known even to people who practice calisthenics on a daily basis? Like, from example, from a back hang position when your hands are behind your back. It's also very interesting. It's really cool and fascinating. If you are interested, please check this video out on the behind the back transition muscle up. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you the next time, and I appreciate you watching.